Goose Bay, Labrador. We took off from Presque Isle, Maine. Our objective was Greenland, and I didn't realize it, but we stopped, and this was late in the evening, about 7 o'clock as I remember, 7 to 9, and we had our night meal, one of these restaurants with the English soldiers, or British, or Canadian people, and I never heard so many bloody, everything was bloody. We flew there from Presque Isle, Maine, on our way to Greenland. So this was the typical way that they got the planes with smaller gasoline capacities to Europe.
Oh, they made a lot of stops.
Yeah, they went to Goose Bay, and then they'd fly to southern tip of Greenland, and from there they go to Iceland and then to England, and they could make it. So the next morning we arrived in Greenland, and this next picture is after being in Greenland a few days. We got anxious. We had nothing to do but explore, so this is one of the trips we took around. We saw a waterfall coming down, and it's just ice being melted off the ice cap. This is the middle of the summer. Our team stayed in base 1 for about 3 weeks together, just to see if we'd gel. They had too much trouble sending people out there that just didn't.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and they started out sending officers in these places. It didn't work at all. 5 or 6 or 7 people, you didn't take orders, especially when you didn't know what you were doing. When we were going for the first time, we got up to 2.
Yeah.
And we took the icebreaker then, and
Yeah.
we're going up to our final destination.
Okay, okay.
Up at Eggleston. We headed out into the ocean. Well, boy oh boy, we just hit that ocean, and here's waves way up in the air. My God, this 96-foot boat, up, down. We had 2 20-millimeter guns, on one side, one on the other side, on the second deck. First one was in the water, then the other was in the water.
Wow, wow.
It was terrible. And this old captain, he decided there was a Fishmaster Harbor, they called it, up the coast just a little bit. We crawled in there. We stayed there for 2 days, and the damn wind didn't go down.
Wow.
So he said, well, we can't wait any longer, we just have to go.
Mm-hmm.
So we started out, and I'll never forget, that was in the evening. It was, I stood on the deck, the top deck of that boat, and I watched thousands of eider ducks flying south. Just beautiful flocks of these ducks. I've never seen so many ducks. And what they had for us was they gave us sleeping bags. They didn't have a place for anybody in this damn boat, except the crew. We slept in the galley in the sleeping bags, which has been all right, you know. The damn boat had been staying where it belonged, but and all the furniture there was all bolted down to the floor. So we got in there and get on our sleeping bags, and we're sleeping. Oh, it wasn't long, and everything, all the bolts came out loose, the furniture, the tables,
wow.
the chairs, everything was sliding all over, and we with it.
Wow.
You know, I decided that I was going down in the engine. We had the run of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured that the best place to get away from all that thing was in the bottom of the boat. So I went down there, and here was an old guy that was tending the, and I got talking to him a little. You know, I said to him, you know, this is a hell of a boat. At least it should have hammocks, yeah, to sleep in once in a while. He said, just a minute. He said, we used to have a hammock here. And he got down looking at a plate, one of those metal plates in the bottom of the boat, and by God, he came up with a hammock. And he strung it for me right over the screw of the boat. I stayed there for 2 days. Right in the bottom of the boat, where the screw goes out, you know, turn the propeller. You take the top of the boat, it's going like this, the bottom. Oh, everybody was sick. We had a lieutenant who was supposed to be a guy that fixed all the radio equipment and stuff like that, and set this up for us. He was so sick, I don't think he ever got over it.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to work till midnight, 4 o'clock till midnight. They blew up a storm that night, and it started to snow, and we registered almost 90-mile-an-hour winds. That weather station had a big cable over both ends of it, and it was hooked into the rocks up there, right into the rocks, so it couldn't blow away. But it sure could shake in spite. And some of the equipment in there was,
Wow.
we weren't sure that it was working properly at all. Yeah, well, Miller was there. He was, you know, you always have to have 2 guys.
Oh, okay.
One guy transferred all the information back
Okay.
with the radio man, see? And with his dots, dancers and stuff. That's how he got the information back. But, boy, I tell you, that was a hassle. Because no one would replace me, no one could. They were all over.
Oh, so you were there at midnight ready to be relieved and nobody showed up.
That's right. Well, you couldn't show up in that damn thing. You'd blow in the ocean.
Uh-huh.
It's the worst, I think, the worst wind we
Of
ever
the whole
had.
time.
Yep, of the whole time.
That was literally your first night there?
Yep, literally the first night. Up here, we had one day that our thermograph registered 55 degrees. The only 50-degree day we had for a whole year. Other than that, it was 40s were our maximum.
Your highs.
I'd say the temperature generally was around 25 below. But it got 35 below too. But 25 was just about
Average.
winter time. Our trouble was, we got there in September. By October, it was getting dark, and it was getting very dark. And pretty soon there wasn't any light at all. For about 3 months, we were in total darkness. It wasn't too bad up there. And it wasn't because at night you would have a moon, and you'd have always a fresh snow cover that would help you illuminate everything. We hauled water, we did our outside chores, so we'd have to work at night.
Hmm.
Seven,
7 Danes?
yeah.
How many Eskimos?
I'm guessing, maybe 40.
7 Danes, 7 Americans, and a bunch of Eskimos.
Yep. did we eat?
Yeah.
We took a year's supply of food, a turkey with all the guts in it for Thanksgiving. The head chopped off and the feathers are off. And we had a year's supply of GI beer
Uh-huh.
that was gone at Christmas time.
From September to Christmas?
September to Christmas. A lot of canned stuff, of course, but I furnished a lot of food. We had a lot of codfish. We had ducks, eider ducks, and seagulls. They all taste the same, just the breasts, of course.
Uh-huh.
And well, once in a while we got guillemots. Now they were tastier. They're better eating than the other stuff. Even eider ducks. Now this is what I always thought was so interesting. Here's a typical layout for an Eskimo.
Mm-hmm.
Here's his house, and that's about as big as they were.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little damn
Shack.
thing, a shack. Yeah, that's what you and I would call it. Had nothing but stones on the top to hold it on so the wind wouldn't blow it off. Here's his shark meat for the dogs. These are dog skins. They used anything like that. Here's his kayak. I just can't see this stuff.
And those, it's all raised up on poles to
Oh,
keep it
yeah.
away from the dogs?
See, yeah, right.
They would chew on
The
the...
dogs would eat this stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
If they had the darndest thing to train a dog not to eat sealskin, can you imagine making a loop out of sealskin with tying it here and having a loop? Okay. And then there's two ends coming out this way. What they would do is open the dog's jaw, put that loop down his throat, tie it behind his head. He would gag and gag and gag. I don't know how long they left it on there.
And that was to
And he'd
teach
never want to have
Never
the
would eat
sealskin flavor
sealskin
again.
But this guy's life depended upon it.
Sure.
They had to have dogs that didn't eat sealskin.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
They'd eat all the traces on the gosh darn sleds and stuff. While
Uh-huh.
the man was out hunting.
Uh-huh. Because they're all made of sealskin.
Yeah, everything was sealskin. Yeah. Well, the traces on the dogs and all were sealskin, you know.
Uh-huh.
And if they start eating each other's traces, and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's-
here the guy'd be out there alone, no way of getting home. Everybody seemed to have their own little place, but they were little places. Now, here again, you can see the extent of, and they didn't get close to each other.
Now, this is a bigger boat.
That's an umiak. That's the women's boat.
Oh.
The women, they would go, when they went in the summertime to get Arctic char to these places, take the whole family. The women and the kids would paddle and row, and the old guy would sit in the back with his pipe if he had something to smoke. I've seen him go.